They called it the Wild West for a reason, a place where invention, desperation, and showmanship met on dusty streets. You think you know six-shooters and Winchesters? Think again. Today we're counting down the wildest, deadliest, and straight-up strangest guns that shaped the frontier. The ones history forgot and the ones every outlaw secretly wanted. The Colt Walker, Texas Rangers hand cannon. Samuel Colt's early revolvers had promise but lacked stopping power. Texas Ranger Captain Samuel H. Walker asked Colt for a sidearm strong enough to drop a horse or a Comanche warrior in full charge. The result? The Colt Walker revolver, six massive .44 caliber shots, weighing over 4.5 pounds. It was the most powerful black powder handgun of its era. Rangers used it in the Mexican-American War and on the frontier. The Walker's recoil was fierce. Some exploded if overloaded with powder, but it saved Ranger lives in running fights across Texas and northern Mexico. The pepper box, gambler's multi-barreled bet. Before reliable single-action Colts, many civilians carried pepper box pistols, clusters of barrels that rotated or simply fired one after another. Small, concealable, and inexpensive, they were popular with gamblers and travelers. But the design was prone to misfires and sometimes chain fires, where multiple barrels ignited at once. Surviving accounts tell of accidental injuries in saloons and stagecoaches, a weapon that could be as dangerous to its owner as to an attacker. The volcanic repeating pistol, future in the making. The volcanic pistol, produced by the Volcanic Repeating Arms Company, where a young Oliver, Winchester was an investor, promised multiple shots without reloading. Its self-contained rocket ball ammunition lacked power, making it unreliable for defense. Still, the Volcanic's lever mechanism directly inspired the Henry rifle and later the Winchester line that would dominate the frontier. The harmonica gun, a sliding experiment. Gunsmiths experimented with repeating fire by loading cartridges into a horizontal sliding bar, the so-called harmonica gun. Each push aligned a fresh chamber with the barrel. A few custom gunsmiths sold them, but they were awkward and quickly outclassed once true revolving and lever action systems matured. Surviving examples are rare curiosities in museums. The LeMat revolver, revolver plus shotgun. Invented by Jean-Alexandre LeMat of New Orleans, this revolver carried 9.42 caliber rounds plus a 20-gauge shotgun barrel underneath. Many Confederate officers, including General J.E.B. Stuart, carried one during the Civil War. The extra shotgun blast was devastating at close range, but the LeMat was heavy and expensive, limiting its spread. The Henry rifle, first successful lever action. Benjamin Tyler, Henry's Henry rifle revolutionized firepower. 16 rounds of .44 rimfire ammunition loaded through the magazine tube, fired as fast as a man could work the lever. Union troops who carried Henrys in the Civil War boasted that a soldier could load on Sunday and shoot all week. The Henry's success laid the foundation for the Winchester brand. The Spencer repeating carbine, cavalry's edge. Christopher Spencer's design fed 7 rimfire cartridges from a tubular magazine in the stock. Adopted by Union cavalry late in the Civil War, the Spencer let small groups of troopers deliver sustained fire far beyond muzzleloaders. After the war, many surplus Spencers rode west with veterans and settlers, influencing skirmishes with native warriors and outlaws. The Gatling gun, industrial firepower arrives. Richard Gatling patented his hand-cranked multi-barrel gun in 1862. While not fully automatic, it delivered unprecedented rates of fire. The U.S. Army used Gatlings late in the Civil War and later in frontier posts. Their mere presence could deter attacks. This was the first taste of industrial warfare on the plains. Colt Single-Action Army. The Peacemaker, adopted by the U.S. Army and loved by lawmen, ranchers, and outlaws, the Colt Single-Action Army became the symbol of the Wild West. Its robust design, easy maintenance, and stopping power made it the standard sidearm in countless shootouts, stagecoach robberies, and frontier skirmishes. Winchester model. The gun that won the West. Oliver Winchester's company perfected the lever rifle with the Model 1873. It used popular centerfire cartridges and was affordable to settlers. Farmers and lawmen praised its reliability defending homesteads and stage lines. The Winchester's widespread use cemented its reputation as the gun that won the West. Burton's Derringer and other pocket pistols. The classic Philadelphia Derringer, single shot, and its many knockoffs became infamous after John Wilkes Booth used one to assassinate Lincoln. Tiny, concealable, and cheap, these pistols were common backup weapons in saloons and cardrooms. Winchester high wall/low wall. John Browning's single-shot falling block design gave hunters extremely strong, accurate rifles. Buffalo and big game hunters prized the high wall in 45-90 and other big cartridges. Winchester model lever-action shotgun. Designed by John Browning, the model brought the lever action to shotguns, a first of its kind. Stagecoach guards and express companies loved the fast cycling for defense. Burgess folding shotgun. A strange pump shotgun that could fold in half for concealment. Some Wells Fargo agents and detectives used the Burgess when traveling incognito. Colt Burgess lever rifle. Colt tried to compete with Winchester by hiring Andrew Burgess to design a slick lever-action rifle. It was well made but produced in small numbers, a rare collector's prize today. The Sharps rifle. Buffalo Hunter's long arm. The heavy single-shot Sharps rifles offered superb long-range accuracy. Buffalo hunters in the 1870s used .50 and .45 caliber Sharps to kill at distances exceeding 1,000 yards. This firepower hastened the near extermination of the American bison and reshaped Plains life. The Whitworth rifle, early precision shooting. The British-made Whitworth, imported in limited numbers, introduced hexagonal rifling for extreme accuracy. Confederate sharpshooters had used it in the Civil War. A few frontiersmen and long-range hunters prized it afterward. Capable of remarkable precision, it was a true predecessor to modern sniper rifles. The punt gun, market hunter's cannon. Massive shotguns, some over 8 feet long, were mounted on boats by professional waterfowl hunters. A single punt gun blast could kill dozens of ducks. Market hunting with these guns decimated bird populations, prompting later restrictions and wildlife conservation laws. The knock volley gun and other multi-barrel experiments. Originally a Royal Navy design decades earlier, the knock volley gun fired 7 musket balls at once. A few found their way west through private sales or collectors. Its recoil was so brutal it could dislocate a shoulder. Such experimental, multi-barrel weapons fascinated gunsmiths, but were quickly outclassed by repeaters. Allen and Thurber pepperbox revolvers. While we mentioned the pepperbox concept, Allen and Thurber made the most famous commercial models. They flooded the market from the 1830s to the 1850s. Cheap, concealable, and often sold to immigrants heading west, they helped ordinary people feel armed. Though accidents were so common, newspapers mocked them as suicide specials. Colt Root side hammer. Samuel Colt tried to perfect a small, reliable pocket revolver with the Root side hammer, model 1855. Its underhammer design was unusual. Cylinders sometimes froze after heavy use. Still, it was one of the first true pocket revolvers of the West. Ballard rifles. Marlin Ballard rifles were accurate single shots favored by buffalo hunters and target shooters before the Sharps took over the long-range market. The Ballard Pacific in 44 or 45 caliber was prized for its smooth action. Henry volcanic improved prototypes. Before the famous 1860 Henry, there were odd volcanic Henry hybrids. A few were field-tested on the frontier by investors and scouts. They were rare but paved the way for the reliable rimfire Henry. Remington Model 1865. Rolling block, this simple, ultra-strong, single-shot design became popular with buffalo hunters and native warriors alike after the Civil War. The rolling block breech was so durable, it stayed in production for decades and armed militias across the Americas. Winchester Model Yellow Boy. Before the 1873, the 1866 Yellow Boy, named for its brass frame, was the first true Winchester-branded rifle. It saw wide civilian use, including by Mexican revolutionaries and some native groups like the Sioux. Remington New Model Army Conversion. Many Civil War-era percussion Remingtons were converted to metallic cartridges in the 1870s. Cowboys, lawmen, and outlaws often carried these converted Remington New Model Army pistols because they were rugged and cheaper than buying a brand new Colt. Springfield Trapdoor Rifle. After the Civil War, the U.S. Army adopted the Springfield Model Trapdoor in 4570. It was the standard issue at the Battle of Little Bighorn, a single-shot but powerful rifle that soldiers found too slow against repeating Winchesters used by some Lakota and Cheyenne warriors. Smith & Wesson Schofield Revolver. Major George Schofield modified the Smith & Wesson number 3 to load faster on horseback. The U.S. cavalry bought thousands. Jesse James reportedly favored the Schofield because of its quick reload. Colt Lightning Double-Action Revolver. Colt's first successful double-action revolver, faster to fire but more complex. Billy the Kid reportedly carried one. It showed Colt trying to stay ahead of European DA designs. Evans Repeating Rifle. A Maine gunsmith built the Evans, with a helical magazine in the stock holding up to 34 rounds, the highest capacity of any 19th century rifle. Frontier settlers loved the idea, but the rifle was fragile and soon disappeared. The Wild West was more than duels at high noon. It was a proving ground for inventors, dreamers, and madmen with gunpowder. Some designs, like the Peacemaker and the Winchester, became legends. Others vanished into museums, curiosities from a time when a single new idea could change survival. Which one would you trust if you were riding into danger? The LeMat's hidden shotgun, the Walker's brute force, or the 7-barrel knock? Tell me down below. And if you want more untold frontier weapons, saddle up, like and subscribe.